Now let us remember Jaquise Lewis, who died defending his friends from an attack of white mob violence in an Albuquerque skateboard park while Jaquise and his friends were doing nothing, and they killed Jaquise for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Hi, this is Colin Flaherty. I'm the author of Don't Make the Black Kids Angry. Here we talk about the greatest hoax of our lifetimes, the myth of black victimization, all without racism, without rancor, without apologies. Now, I get a lot of email, especially on YouTube, a lot of comments, people saying, Colin, you never show the other side. You never show all the white on black violence, and they do it too. You just don't show it. Well, you know what? I guess I owe those folks an apology. Let's get to the story.
Several dozen people remember a teenager who died too young. Gunmen opened fire at the Los Altos skate park last night, and 17-year-old Jaquise Lewis died at the scene.
6 other people got hit. One of them is still in critical condition tonight. Ryan Luby is just back from the skate park, and Ryan, understandably, folks are upset.
Well, Tom, they are for several reasons. First, Jaquise was well loved by all those folks, but more importantly, the shooter or shooters are still at large tonight.
We spoke to the victim's grandfather earlier today, who said several of his family members who were here last night believe that race may have played a role.
And some kind of way there was an altercation between several young blacks and several young whites.
Just before sunset, at least 50 to 60 people made it known they would not forget their friend, their cousin, their sibling, 17-year-old Jaquise Lewis. They stood in solidarity near the spot he died Sunday night to honor him.
I mean, he put a smile on everybody's face that he came in contact with. He was very funny. He was outgoing.
Wanda Green, who married into Jaquise's family, says the boy loved sports and never got caught up in the wrong stuff, regardless of who did it. What's true is that these people are still suffering for it, including one of the shooting victims who was at Monday's vigil, still wearing his hospital gowns.
If they're any kind of man, they should turn themselves in. They know what they did. They know how they did it. You can get away with things, but you still got to face God, no matter what.
They came unified. Friends and family of 17-year-old Jaquise Lewis, who was shot and killed at Los Altos skate park Sunday night.
I don't understand why this would happen to him. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was just a child that loved life.
Police say 2 groups were celebrating birthday parties at the park when a fight broke out. Gunshots and chaos followed. 7 people were shot, including Lewis, who died at the scene. A day later, his family was still incredibly shaken.
They're really tore up about it. He was beginning new, and for this to happen to him, it was a bad thing. I just don't understand.
Lewis was raised in Albuquerque, but had recently been living with his mom in Las Vegas, Nevada. He moved back to town a few months ago and enrolled at Sandia High. His family says he was a huge fan of football and basketball. As police worked to try and figure out who fired the shots, more and more people turned out to leave flowers and light candles, all in memory of a 17-year-old boy who many say was taken from them much too soon.
I'm going to miss him very much, very, very much.
A memorial that friends and family believe was set on fire overnight.
It's sad to see it like this, because this is like his family's hurt. So why would somebody come up here and burn everything that we put up here for him? You know what I'm saying? Like, it shouldn't go down like that.
And Lewis's friends say the destruction of his memorial was a hate crime.
To be honest, I think it's racism. To be honest, everybody should be treated equally.
They're remembering 17-year-old Jaquise Lewis. He was killed over the weekend at Los Altos skate park on Lomas and Eubank in a shooting that injured 6 others.
All of this happened in March 2015. By May, 6 weeks later, the story had begun to evolve.
Someone from Jaquise Lewis's group approached one of the skateboarders and asked to borrow a skateboard. They complied, they gave him a skateboard, they skated, they returned the skateboard. It happened again. Can we borrow a skateboard? They let him borrow the skateboard, they skateboarded, they returned the skateboard. Finally, it happened a 3rd time. They skated, but they failed to return the skateboard. Young man went up and asked, can I get my skateboard back? For whatever reason, we don't know, fight ensues. They were upset that he wanted his skateboard back.
Yes, the Truth in Broadcasting laws of 1956, 1972, and 1993 require me to insert the following information into this clip. By borrowing, he actually means stealing, and by fighting, he actually means assault. We now return to the regularly scheduled portion of this video.
So we have this fight here. This is kind of what kicked off the entire chain of events. The reason we're showing you this image isn't necessarily to show one kid getting beat up by another kid. We have 3 people who we definitely need to get identified. This individual here, this young man here, this female who will show you a better picture of in just a second, and as you can clearly see, this individual there with his cell phone taking video of this. That's a second video that we don't have and we would like to see. Why do we need to identify all these people? Because we don't know who they are, but throughout the tape, you see them very intimately involved in the altercation. They are places that we know they probably saw something that the video didn't. That's why we need these people identified. That's why we need these people to come forward. We know who these 3 people are. That's why we're not asking for them to come forward. We know who they are. We don't know who this gentleman is. We don't know who these 2 gentlemen are. We don't know who she is. Once again, these were all people who were intimately involved in the altercation. We need to know who they are. We are asking them to come forward and give us a witness statement. Part of the issue of why we are pressing so hard to get people to talk to us is this right here. That is a young child, probably 2 years old, that was there that night as so many shots were fired. And based on some video evidence, we do believe that Jaquise Lewis was the one that fired those rounds. Jaquise Lewis was the one that fired those rounds and hit the other young man in yellow. So we know this is where someone was shot. We have someone pointing, or at least extending his arm out as though he's holding a gun. We have a witness statement that puts Jaquise Lewis as the shooter. Here's Jaquise Lewis again after our second victim has been shot, with a gun in his hand, pointing it at a group of people who are behind this Los Altos pillar here. There's an entire group of people behind that pillar that you can't see because of the angle of where the person with the gun, or with the camera, is standing. And then you have an individual who we know returning fire at Jaquise Lewis.
Since the shooting, APD says the skaters have cooperated, but Jaquise Lewis's group has not.
Well, I guess I've got some egg on my face here. I think I owe you folks an apology for getting this story so wrong at the beginning. 1, let's review what we now know. 1, there was no fight. That was an assault. 2, nobody was borrowing any skateboards. 3, there was no birthday party. 4, there was no memorial set on fire. 5, there was no hate crime. 6, you remember when the aunt said Jaquise never got caught up in any wrong stuff? He had been arrested a few weeks earlier for shooting his friend in the butt while playing with a gun. He wasn't even supposed to be out that night without the permission of a court official. So here's what we know. Jaquise and his friends, who were not skateboarders, went to a skateboard park, not to skate, but to create violence and havoc. That's what they did. This group of black people attacked a group of skaters. They were absolutely surprised when at least one of the skaters fought back with a gun and shot Jaquise. In the aftermath of these revelations, members of Jaquise's family are speaking out along with his family's attorney. Let's see what they have to say. Let's hear from the cousin of Jaquise, who posted this comment in the local media after the real story came out. This is ridiculous. Now y'all playing by race. Now it's a race thing. My little cousin was murdered. NDD, whatever that means. Want to let killer loose cause he's not black. Huh? That's bullshit. It's funny how every white person get off and every black person either do face life behind bars or death penalty. SMH, shaking my head. AAD, whatever that means. Sick world. Finally, let's hear from the person who's probably the saddest in light of all these recent developments. I'm talking about the attorney for the family of Jaquise Lewis. Just a few days ago, he was sitting on top of a personal injury lawsuit, appearances on cable TV, fame and fortune. Now he's not getting paid. The attorney wants the police department to give him all the documents. And this is what he said. Let's let the community judge this process. Don't let the police department call the shots in this conversation. The African American community deserves better. If this lawyer really wanted to contribute to what he calls the conversation, he could start with the friends of his client, the friends of Jaquise who were with him that night. Why doesn't he ask them what they were doing at that skate park? Why did they feel they could just steal skateboard from somebody? Why did they feel they could just assault him when he asked for his skateboard back? Why did they have all those guns? Did they ever do anything like this before? Will they ever do it again? And why do they feel now they're entitled to a payoff when they are the ones that did all the damage? In my book, Don't Make the Black Kids Angry, I have a chapter in there on all the gentle giants, all the Michael Fergusons, all the Trayvon Martins that were shot doing something really bad, robberies, pointing guns at cops. The parents, the relatives, the friends all show up in this familiar and start the familiar kabuki dance. Good kid. Didn't do nothing. Never did anything. Well, maybe he did a little something, but that was a long time ago and he's over that now, and that's why we need to get paid. There's a lot of that going on all over the country. We see it happening in Baltimore right now. We see the victims demanding, we see the predators demanding to be treated like victims, and we see the predators trying to turn the victims into the predators. All for one reason only: that black people are relentless victims of relentless white racism all the time, everywhere. That explains everything, especially why police are always picking on black people for no reason whatsoever. I hope you get a chance to check out Don't Make the Black Kids Angry, where I really document this all over the country. And while you're at it, head over to my website, whitegirlbleedalot.com, and sign up for my email newsletter. This is Colin Flaherty reminding you, don't make the black kids angry.